Okay guys, so this is going to be a little tutorial on how to use your calculator to get some of these z-score business. They go through how to convert everything into z-scores. So I'm not really going to talk about the probability distribution or anything very much, but in the help me solve this, and they tell you how to do these problems, they always say use technology to find the z-score, use technology to find the probability between two things, and they mean this. So I've got the 84 calculator right here. If you have a Casio, it's something similar, but ask me in a separate email. Okay, but anyways, here are some questions I have. So IQ scores are normally distributed with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. So I went down here and I wrote mu is 100, sigma is 15. And so the kind of questions you would get are something like, find the percentage of adults that have an IQ between 111 and 122. So the first thing you do, convert these guys to z-scores using this formula. So I turn 111 into 0.73 and 122 into 1.47. So on the normal curve, I want the percentage who have an IQ between 111 and 122 are between z-scores 0.73 and 1.47. So that's the area under this normal curve is the same as this percentage. So anyway, how do you get this number? So we do it with calculator. And everything's under distribution here, right, which is right over vars. So as it's on top, I got to hit second, distribution. And I have two things in this menu that are interesting to me. One, this normal CDF, which is normal cumulative distribution function, and the inverse norm, which we'll use a little bit later. This one, normal PDF, we're never going to use in this class. So anyway, we're going to normal CDF, the cumulative distribution function, is going to give us this area. Comes up with something like this, and then I just type in left bound and right bound. So 0.73, comma 1.47. Close my parenthesis. And there we go, there's my answer. So you got to be kind of careful. This question asked for the percentage, so I'd have to write this as a 16%. And if they asked as a probability, they want it as a decimal. They're usually going to tell you in the question, but just be aware of that. This is a decimal. If they want this percent, it's 16%. If it pulls up a different menu, it goes to a different screen on some of the calculators, and it just asks for a lower bound and an upper bound. That's the 0.73 and the 1.47. So lower, upper, right, just from left to right. Then you always want to make sure you have your mean set to 0 and your standard deviation set to 1, regardless of what these numbers say. You could do it by putting in lower bound 122, lower bound 111, upper bound 122, and then use 115 for mean and standard deviation. But the question's asking parts, and they ask for the z-scores anyway, so you might as well just use 0 and 1 and use your z-scores. Okay. Now, for the rest of them, now you notice here the one thing I always do, I always shade this graph. It's really going to make your life a lot easier. But this calculator only designs it to go between two values. So if I want to go something like more than 97, or z-score negative 0.2, they always want a left and a right. So all I have to do to make the right is just pick something really big as an upper bound. So for part B here, I would go distribution, normal CDF, same button. And I'm just going to go from negative 0.2 and then just something really big. So I just hit 9 a few times. It doesn't really matter how many times you hit 9. If I just had 1, 2, or 3 there, it's going to be the same number. But I just say something big. And there we go. There's your answer, 58%. Okay, so if you want to do less than, right, like part C here, it's the same idea, but it's left to right, right? So instead of going from negative 0.2 off to something big, I'm going from something really negative up to negative 0.87. So, same thing. This is part C. Normal CDF. From negative 9 a few times up until I get to negative 0.87. Oh, there we go, 19%. So it's always left to right. So you have to kind of trick it on greater than and less than. All right. So the last one I have here is D, where we do it backwards, right? So they're giving you the probability, and I have to find the z-score and ultimately the IQ score, the data, the x. So again, it depends on how it reads the input. So the way this calculator reads the input is area to the left. So at the top 18%, so that's to the right, but I need area to the left, 0.82. Okay, and then all we're going to have to do is put in the inverse norm, all in the same spot. So I'm going to go right to distribution again. Inverse norm is number 3. And inverse norm, just that 0.92. Again, if it asks, mean 0, standard deviation 1. But if it comes up like this, you don't even need to care. And there we go. There's my z-score, 1.4. Oh, sorry, typo. I meant to put 0.82, didn't I? 0.92 ends up being my answer. Sorry about that. All right, so same thing. Let's just start over. Distribution, inverse norm, 3. And it's 0.82. I put in the area. And I get out the z-score, 0.92. And there you go. I've gone and plugged this in. And then since I want the IQ score, I just solved this for x. I multiplied both sides by 15. And I added 100. And then x is 113.74 would be your answer. So I guess it's the one I actually put the answer in for. Anyway, hope that helps. Try to make a few more of these videos just to kind of show you how to do stuff on your calculator, specifically for this class. On that, if there's any trouble, just let me know.